Here to discuss the DOJ's indictment of former Cuban leader Raúl Castro and other regime officials, I want to bring in Congressman Mario Díaz-Balart, a Republican representing South Florida who has worked at this for decades. Congressman, thank you for joining Top Story. I know this is a historic moment for you and for your community. The first U.S. action against a Cuban regime official in almost 70 years on Independence Day for the Cuban people. Our teams have been analyzing the indictment. I've taken a look at it. I'm sure you've looked at it as well. If you compare this indictment with the Maduro indictment, there was a lot of evidence in there. And I know the acting attorney general said this was not a show indictment. What do you say to people who say, listen, I'm looking at this indictment and it's a little bit of thin soup here?
Well, I mean, look, the facts are that this was a premeditated, cold-blooded murder about 30 years ago of 3 Americans and 1 U.S. resident, legal resident. And as of today, there have been no consequences to the people who ordered that murder, cold-blooded murder. And so this indictment goes a long way to bringing justice finally to those who have murdered Americans and have done so, by the way, with impunity for 3 decades. So this is way overdue. And, you know, a criminal indictment for murder is never a light thing.
No, it's a good point. You told USA Today that U.S. officials have had recorded evidence of Castro's involvement in the shooting since the Clinton administration. So why did family members like Miriam de la Peña have to wait 30 years to see him indicted on these murders?
That's frankly a really good question, because when that happened, members of Congress then, by the way, in bipartisan way in those days, asked for action such as indictment, and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami started preparing an indictment. My understanding, and this was reported also in USA Today, this is common knowledge, but for some reason in the Clinton administration, they basically put that indictment in a drawer. There was also another indictment for narco trafficking of the Castro brothers, and that was also stopped, it seems, by the White House or by somebody in the Clinton administration. But murder doesn't expire. There is no statute of limitation for murder, which is why we were insisting on pursuing this, and we're exceedingly grateful that finally these families will have justice for their loved ones who were murdered in cold blood by the Castro brothers.
Congressman, there's 2 key pieces of evidence in the indictment that point to Raúl Castro. One being that the pilots trained to attack small aircraft, just like the Brothers to the Rescue Cessna planes. That's number 1. Number 2, he was the leader of the Defense Department there, right? The head of the military. So everything had to go through him. Do you think that's enough? If you were ever to stand trial here in the United States, do you think that's enough to get a conviction of Raúl Castro?
Tom, there are also, there's an article where Fidel Castro mentions that his brother Raúl is the one who gave the direct order. There's the audio recordings. There's more than enough evidence.
Why do you think that wasn't in this indictment, Congressman? It's great points you're raising, and that's why I'm a little bit at a loss with the indictment. And I know it was incredibly tough to get to this point. And again, the acting attorney general said this was not a show indictment. They could bring that in a court for evidence. But why do you think they didn't put that in the documents we see today?
Yeah, look, that's a good question for the prosecutors, but it's pretty clear that this is a serious indictment. These are serious charges. This is a much more serious charge than what Noriega had or Maduro had. Theirs was for drug trafficking. This is for murder and for conspiracy to commit murder. This is a serious indictment, serious charges for an individual that has a lot of American blood on his hands. But again, finally, these 4 families can rest assured that justice will be coming to Raúl Castro and others involved in the murder of their loved ones.
Congressman, this is a 2-part question, and once you answer the first part, you'll understand the second part. Does the American government know where Raúl Castro is right now?
Yes.
Will they be able to? Do you think they're going to extradite him from Cuba?
The president of the United States, this president, has not been willing to stand by while Americans are hurt, murdered, killed, unjustly imprisoned. He's a man of action. And when it comes to protect the national security interests of the United States and the American people, he has been assertive and aggressive. So if I were the Raúl Castro and his family, I'd be looking for a safe place to get out of Cuba and find a safe place to get out of here and go live someplace else, because I think his days are numbered.
Congressman, I interviewed the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, as you know, in China. I asked him, what is the plan for Cuba? He did not want to divulge the details. I understand that, right? You want to be strategic here. But if one were to read the tea leaves, we have the indictment today. We had the CIA director in Cuba. You have the oil embargo as well. You put the things together, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around what exactly is the plan, because if the Castros have not waved the white flag of surrender in more than 60 years, why will they now?
You know, do I think that Raúl Castro is going to all of a sudden become a nice guy and decide, oh, I made all these mistakes and I'm going to go to the United States for justice to be served? No. But let's be very clear. The United States has a lot of options as to how to deal with a rogue terrorist state, which is what we're dealing with 90 miles away from the United States. The question is, there's always been lack of political will. President Trump has no lack of political will when it comes time to defend the American people and the national security interests of the United States. He has plenty of options, but this is just one more avenue and one more detail that shows you just how dangerous this Castro regime is, has been, and continues to be, not only for the national security interests of the United States, but again, it has American blood on its hands.
As somebody who represents South Florida, and South Florida, of course, includes Key West and the Florida Keys, is your community, are you preparing for a refugee crisis?
You know, the Castro regime has used this refugee crisis, but it's only happened under Democratic presidents as a tool to try to get concessions. They never did it under Reagan. They didn't do it under the Bushes. They didn't do it under Trump 1. And I doubt very much they'll do it under this president because, again, they know that they cannot blackmail or try to pressure this president to get concessions. This president, the President of the United States, will protect the American people, the national security interests of the United States, and it will not be pressured or blackmailed by a terrorist regime 90 miles away from our shores.
Finally, Congressman, for viewers at home who may not be so familiar with this case, the Brothers to the Rescue case, and this indictment, and people, maybe even skeptics who are watching this going, oh, this is purely a political play. The president's trying to appease his Cuban American base in South Florida. Can you make it clear to our viewers, these were Americans who were killed by the Cubans in the air performing a humanitarian mission?
These are 3 Cessnas, unarmed Cessnas, who were actually flying over the Florida states, looking for folks in rafts, in makeshift, boats, floating in the ocean. And if they would see them, they would call the U.S. Coast Guard so that these folks would not get eaten by sharks or would not drown. That was what they were doing that day. The Castro regime, in a premeditated fashion, planned, premeditated, and trained, sent out MiG fighter jets, blew 2 of those unarmed Cessnas out of the water. They chased the other one and were not able to get it, killing 3 Americans, including one, by the way, a Vietnam veteran, and 1 American legal resident. These were innocent people who were on a humanitarian mission on unarmed Cessna little airplanes that were shot down in a premeditated murder, again, planned, premeditated, in cold blood. This administration finally has said those that ordered the premeditated, cold-blooded murder of Americans will now get indicted because for too long they have been able to escape justice from the United States, and for too long different U.S. administrations have looked the other way. I am so grateful that this administration is finally bringing justice to these American families whose relatives were murdered by Raúl Castro and the Castro regime.
Congressman Díaz-Balart, I know there are votes you need to get to. We thank you for your time on such a busy day.
Thank you, sir.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.